Hello everyone and welcome again to Bachakolio Streams. As usual, I am Bachakolio and today I will keep putting on some more colors on these otherwise so pale Blood Bowl Norse dudes. Hope you're all doing fine. Hope you all join and come along on this otherwise very chill, relaxed stream where we'll be talking about some stuff, trying to paint in the meanwhile, and so on and so forth. Now, unfortunately, Facebook and Instagram appear to be giving me some issues today in terms of any posts that I'm making. So you might not get the notifications that I am going live until it is maybe a bit too late. Still though, that will not stop me from going along with the stream and getting some paint done. As I mentioned previously, I would really like to have these couple of dudes done by the end of the month in order to keep up with my schedule of getting this team ready and able by the time that the World Cup starts, which is in early October. So any chance I get to put any paint on them is a good opportunity. And so I will make the best of it. I'll just give everyone a chance to come along before I start in case you do receive any notification. Which is a wee bit doubtful. I was notified that there are some upload issues with both these social medias, which is what it is. Not really sure what might have caused them, but maybe rough weather, maybe some server overloads. There might be some event that is also causing additional traffic that I really wasn't made aware of. I'm not really into the more popular aspects, so forgive me for not knowing. That being said, it isn't going to stop me from either painting nor streaming, but it might cut out some of the audience for today. Which is a bit of a shame, just because I was planning to ramble on about the Rockfest that I was at in the previous few days. It was a very nice event. I had a blast and I am going to talk all about it, including the venue, travel, and the bands themselves. Just take a quick look to see if my post went through. Apparently it did not. I am going to reload the page. If any of the changes I made have taken effect. Oh, it's there. Lovely. Good. Good. Oh. I'm not completely unannounced. Good to know. Forgive me for being a bit more ragtag even than usual, but I'm just coming off of a bit of a nap. Still a bit groggy from the heat and the workday. But on a bit of a more topical note, I'm going to paint some of the grays and the blacks, as well as the rim on one of the bases. Here's a first target to completion. I'm thinking that these guys will have black hair. At the very least, this knuckle cracking guy will certainly have black hair, and the Ulf Werner will probably have brown hair, just because it will make the whole process of his fur more conformative. Hey, Big in Space, how are you? I was just saying that there is a bit of an issue with the posts on Facebook and Instagram today, and I was wondering if anyone would see my notifications. It's just gonna be a painting stream today, with mostly rambling on about the Rockfest that I was at. But how are you doing? And thanks as usual for joining me. Oh, lovely, lovely. How did the exams go? Were you able to pass them, or did they at least pass? Last one tomorrow. Well, fingers crossed, and all of the luck to you. All right. Meanwhile, I am going to break out the gray that I'll be using, which is the Citadel Ashen Gray. Gray. Well, not much to be said about that. You know what, actually, as a matter of fact, I will use the opportunity to refill my water. And here I am. So as usual, for larger surfaces, I'm gonna break out the workhorse brush. Is my Army Painter Wargamer line regiment. Nice brush. Just getting the brush nice and moist to loosen up the bristles. Trying not to force the flexibility of the bristles under any circumstance, since I did use brush soap after my last session. And if I push on the starch, the bristles may break, which is not what we want. Almost ready with the brush. I gave a new brush soap a try, so I use Gentastics Drunken Brush Soap, and I took the opportunity to acquire along with the Monument detailing brushes, the dead cords, and I gave it a shot, and it seems to have worked pretty well. Though there was quite a bit of paint caught within the bristles, tinting them down, and they're pretty clear now, so. That being said, the soap smells very weird. So it doesn't have that nice lemony fragrance that the Masters brush soap has. The smell a bit more alcoholic. Let's see if I can reposition things a bit. Okay, and we will be starting on this knuckly guy. Okay, so we have a nice diluted color, and I'm just going to start applying it fairly liberally all across the cloth. Probably going to take several coats to cover, because of my overall tendency to use far too diluted colors. Hello back. So I was just saying that I'm wishing you all of the luck for tomorrow's exam. May you have my luck as comparable to mine in yesterday's game. Because I think we would. Well, in any case, caliber of the exam doesn't particularly matter. I just really have all just the best of wishes for you in this case. For the skin tones, I'm not going to experiment on the Blood Bowl team. I will make my skin tone experiments on the Necromunda team. And this is just for consistency purposes, as I have already painted about 8 or 10 of these guys with the same skin color, and introducing a completely new scheme now will make them look a bit out of place, I think. And besides, that may slow me down even more. And for these guys, I really just want to get them ready and done. Yeah, I could introduce some diversity. Honestly, just not really in the mood for it. Just want to make sure that I have them done for the tournament. Now I will use this stream mostly as an excuse to talk about the music festival that I was at, since it was quite an experience. It was an adventure in all possible aspects of the word. Had some good parts, had some challenging parts, so I will touch on all of them. So to start off, it was a 3-day festival. Isn't it a bit weird that in the YouTube video there is no chat? Yes, so this is something that I was considering. So there are 2 ways to go around this. One is for me to just read out loud all of the posts that you guys make, all of the chats, and then proceed to answering them. Or I can introduce an overlay. Please don't. Alright. The other option would be to introduce an overlay, but I'm not sure if I can do it in the free version of the software that I am using for the streams. I am going to take a look at this additionally. However, this will take up screen space, and while for the painting and building streams this would not make much of a difference, in game it may be a bit distracting. And also I believe that I will be seeing the overlay on the active screen as well, which might distract me as well. So if you want a comparison, in Twitch I don't think so. It's an additional thing that I can apply from the streaming software. So I'm using OBS as a software for streaming, and I am sure that Streamlabs has the option to automatically embed a chat on screen. Not so sure about OBS. Exactly like either of them. I was thinking also about making a scene overlay like the Sages, but again, this will eat up. Yeah, it's just I'm a bit worried about losing the active screen space. So for Blood Bowl, this might not be as impactful, but if I'm streaming another game, it may cause an issue. I would give it a try. I'm gonna try it out for sure. I just need a bit of free time to dabble into it. I saw that there are some options and there are some discussions on the forums. I'll try it out. But yeah, this is a valid point that you're raising. Yeah, so for the concert, first of all, the weather conditions were abysmal. So this is nothing to do with the concert itself, but it did impact it greatly. So on the first day, which is on the Friday, there was one hell of a storm that just poured out about an hour after the concert started, causing the bands to stop playing, and we all had to run around and seek some sort of shelter because it just wasn't, although it was hot, it just wasn't viable to stay under the rain, unfortunately. So about half of the lineup that was for the particular day on all three stages couldn't play because of these weather conditions. In addition, I mean, they were thinking about their gear and stuff, and to their credit, the very second that the rain would subside, whoever was about to have a gig was going on and trying their best to get around some audience. It just wasn't enough, unfortunately. So, rained for about an hour, a bit more maybe. And then we were able to go through the muddy stages, try to get our groove back on, but it was a bit too late for that. All the way until the headliners showed up, so they were Disturbed for the first day. And as they got up on the stage, the storm started up again. However, we were more determined to stick around, and David Dryman from Disturbed just said that they will be playing until something short-circuited, which they actually did. I mean, they played for their whole 2 hours under the rain, and it was the type of thick rain, so with the huge drops that get in your eyes and your mouth and your nose, can't see, can't breathe. It was an experience, but Truth be told, it added a bit of a cathartic feel to the whole experience, especially, I mean, you can imagine raising your fist on 10,000 fists in the song and in the blistering storm. It was quite a cathartic experience, yeah. So that it was fun in that regard. The cold and the wet, not so much, but still we did survive. And we had mud all the way pretty much up to our ears. So it was like we were going home from a Legion run or something. I did discover a couple of Bulgarian bands that I hadn't listened to that I found pretty decent. Oh, Running Wild, yeah. Yeah, strangely enough, I did not see that many mosh pits, which was strange considering, especially the Bulgarian lineups were mostly either metalcore or death metal or variations of grungier thrash or something like that. So if you want to check them out, 40 Days Later was one of the Bulgarian bands. They played on day one during the storm. They were probably the only ones who were on stage during the initial storm, and they sounded pretty well. A very professional sounding band with a more modern sound, so more along the lines of deathcore or something like that. But considering they're one of ours, speaking of modern sounding bands, is pretty rare, so I thought they were worth the mention. Another band from the second day that I enjoyed was Nemesis, so again a Bulgarian band, all female, and they were playing something along the lines of thrash slash death metal, so a slower thrash with screams that were bordering on death metal. Pretty old school sounding, to be truthful, but again a very consistent style, worth the listen definitely. So again, in terms of weather, on the second day we had a mud bath. Doom, no, much quicker, faster sounding than doom metal. A bit of, imagine more thrash than doom or death. Just the screams were more pronounced than in regular thrash. So the second day presented us with swamps in front of the main stage mainly, with mud pools and a blistering heat. So I got sunburned all over, and in addition, being near a rowing canal, maybe Stoner, I don't know, they sounded pretty classic. I don't think they were along the lines of something like so subdivided. You can give them a listen just a song or two to make your own mind on the matter. But yeah, so the rowing canal and the swamp in front of the main stage attracted all the mosquitoes in the freaking world, and they just massacred us. I mean, I have maybe 20 mosquito bites on me right now, and the bands were a bit on the blah side. Ones that I did want to hear ever since I saw them in the lineup were Lord of the Lost. Don't know if you have had the chance to listen to them. For Nemesis? You know, they may be, because the only thing I heard from them in between the songs was Merci. So I don't think they really presented more of their songs. So they may as well be Serbian. Again, I just assumed. So yeah, Lord of the Lost were definitely my favorites on day 2. Arch Enemy, yeah, it makes sense considering their lineup, but they are very much not Arch Enemy in sounding. Maybe the older one, when they still had a male vocal in terms of style, but not the new one. And Lord of the Lost were pretty fun. Also, on the Bulgarian front, we had Concurrent, which are, well, as they always are, and Obraten Effect, which were on the smallest stage, but they filled up all of the space for the stage, and many of the fans were disgruntled that they didn't give them a larger stage to perform on. And as far as Whitesnake goes, for being the headliner for the day, I honestly think that David Coverdale should just stop. I'm sorry. This might be a bit controversial. Yeah, they don't really, but there were a lot of people went to see their gig, which is strange. I expected them to go for the newer, for the different bands. But Whitesnake should just stop. That man looked like a mummy. If he were to turn around with the back of his head facing me, I'm sure I would have seen the pins just trying to keep his face in a wrinkle-free way, and there was more ceramic in his mouth than in my bathroom. Yeah, but he has a very discernible face, Steven Tyler. I don't know. I don't. Or like an old lady, yeah. And also seeing someone who is quite honestly now getting to be an old man, doing his young man shtick with the gestures, rubbing his crotch. I mean, if 30 years ago that was like, see, my dick is getting hard, now it would be something along the lines of, I'm just checking if I pissed myself. It really wasn't a pretty sight, honestly. So the second day was more or less weak in terms of it, excluding, of course, as I mentioned, Lord of the Lost. Yeah, but in the older days, in the videos, they were fun, and I have had periods where I enjoyed them a lot. I know a hell of a lot of their songs. I've just listened to them so much at this point that I'm sick and tired of them. And the fact that they're coming here for what, 10th time in the last 5 years is just getting ridiculous. But then we get to the good part. Yeah, and exactly. The third day was the strongest, in my opinion, and it could have been rivaled by the first day if the rain wasn't there, but as it was, the third day was great. So there was a band called Royal Republic, which I hadn't listened to, and it was something along the lines of Robert Palmer meets Offspring, and they sounded amazing. So they brought so much energy. They were a whole lot of fun. I truly advise you to check them out. So once again, that's Royal Republic from Sweden. There were quite a few Swedish bands as usual, and just to affirm that most Swedish bands are good. I don't know how they do it. They're just good. So Crazy Licks were the opening act for the main stage on the first day. And they are an attempt. Yes, I suppose that there are too many, and therefore from all of the diversity there are more that then some may be good. Yeah, the ones that reach more of a more of an audience, definitely. But I can pretty much say the same of Switzerland, and Switzerland don't have that many bands, and yet most of them are amazing. Are Sabaton Swedes? That's odd. Didn't really. Well, that makes some sense, I suppose. They're fun, I like them. So after Royal Republic came Amaranth, which are again Swedes. Okay, cool. I never bothered to check for Sabaton. Amaranth had a great show, even though they were a bit too emotional and that led. It was, wasn't it? Yeah. It was the first album with Primo Victoria and yeah, babbling a bit. Or maybe you're referring to another album, because the first things I ever heard of them were Ghost Brigade and Primo Victoria. Before Primo Victoria, I haven't listened to them prior to that. Right. So more of a fantasy vibe. Okay. Yeah, I'll check them out. Might actually do it tomorrow at work. I have the opportunity to listen to music. Yeah, do you listen to lighter styles such as Amaranth? Because I kind of like them quite a bit. Been listening to them for a few years. Nah, not really. Okay. They are pretty upbeat and they make for a good party music, I think. Right. Yeah. I never could get too much into punk. I don't know why. I listen to some punk bands, but Cheap Sex being one of them. I really like Cheap Sex. The band, that is. Yeah, and the Bulgarian ones, especially. Mm, they get a bit convoluted with new wave, I think. New wavy, punky bands. Yeah, yeah, these are classic ones. The three other ones I haven't heard. KGB, yeah, and so on, quite. Yeah, truth be told, I was very happy to hear a lot of our bands on such a international festival. And then, of course, came Garbage, which was a bit weird for me to be a headliner. I don't think that they're much of a headliner band, but I'm glad that they called them in. They are a very particular time capsule of the 90s, but luckily I am part of that narrow age margin where I actually listened to them, so I wasn't against them being in the lineup. I'm just baffled why they were this as headliners. Overall, I had a lot of fun though. Drank a lot of beer, spent a lot of time listening to cool music. The last one I mentioned was Garbage, the band Garbage. They were the headliners for the third day, the closing day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bit of an odd choice, but I wasn't very much against it. Okay. In terms of organization overall, I didn't find many flaws. It was decent. There were many angry comments, but I really don't have the comparison that most of these people have. Haven't been to any festivals outside of Bulgaria, so I can't really speak about the organizational aspect of things. But there was nothing that stood out as particularly annoying. And they did try to de-water the stages between the first and the second days. So it's not like they just stood there and said, well, it rained, so it's gonna be muddy and shitty and so on. They tried to correct it, but they were essentially fighting nature, so there's only so much you can do in that case. Especially considering that this is just the third iteration of this festival, I think they did pretty well. I'm seriously considering going next year as well. They also have this more or less gambly thing where they put out cheaper tickets just a couple of days after the festival for next year's iteration. So today they released tickets for next year at about half the price, but with no bands or dates being known. Although you can return your ticket within 10 days of the first headliner or the dates being revealed. So you can still get out of it if they reveal something that you completely have no interest for. Which is good. They give you a choice. It's fun. I would honestly recommend this if there is a part of you that enjoys the whole being on a lawn, laying down or sitting down or something like that, listening to some nice music while getting boozed up. This is a definitely good thing. Yeah, Zagosho was a pretty good fest. It's pretty much the exact same thing every year now, which is sad. I really liked it when it started, somewhere around the third or fourth edition, when it was still 3 days long and it had a whole day dedicated to upcoming Bulgarian bands. Some pretty decent bands made a debut there, but now it's just the old folks singing the same old songs over and over and over and over. I personally do prefer the albums and listening to the music in the comfort of my own home or at a party, but it's just a particular type of experience, and every now and again it's nice to just go out. But I do understand you, yeah, it's not something that you want to do all the time. Also, there is too much risk to get disappointed in a band that you like just because of poor sounds or a bad voice day for the front man, front woman, or whatever. Okay, so I got that done. Yeah, a classical concert has a different approach to it. You can go there, sit down, and immerse yourself in the music. And on a classical concert, concepts like bad sound or inadequate sound is completely out of the question because it's all acoustics. And it is much more immersive in that introvertedly immersive, as in you just sink into the music by yourself. I agree that it's a different experience, different type of experience altogether. And that's pretty much it in terms of my thoughts on it. There are more details that I could go into, but that would just be unnecessary and petty details here and there. Meanwhile, I'm just laying down layer after layer of gray, trying to get a smooth coat paint. Yeah, I'm sure that there are people that would love to see them 50 times in a row. I'm just not one of these people. I strongly believe that, yeah, he is a bit of a ninja. But he is moving his hands, so he's probably not running ninja style. For the purposes of low budget for animation. So we'll see what next year holds for us in terms of bands. I hope more of the newer bands make their way and that they do get some attention. Because the old dinosaurs, as good as they are or were, it's just getting a bit tiring to listen to them over and over again. Well, they have, most of them have a different type of sound, and part of every music genre is its own evolution, and getting stuck on the same tropes, I believe, is detrimental to the genre and all of the subgenres that it encompasses. There are some revival attempts for older styles, older classical styles. I have more or less taken a bit of a liking to the newer trends of sounds for the metal bands. And I am eager to some are. Naturally, by saying newer bands, I don't mean all new bands. Still, I do believe mostly, yeah, mostly it is. But as I said, I have taken a liking to that hybridization of the sounds. It does add a bit of flavor. Is it Richard Cheese? Or do you give him as hybrid? Yeah, okay. Parody bands are fun. I like Steel Panther, Lounge and Metal. Yeah, Weird Al, of course. Tenacious D. Steel Panther also. Nor should you. You shouldn't force yourself to like anything at all. I'm just expressing personal opinion here about my taste in music. I don't think that when comparing tastes there are rights and wrongs. There might be conflicts in that opinions would differ, but the only thing that I would say is that one shouldn't limit themselves to something that they have grown accustomed to, and just every now and again try and go out of their comfort zones. Since there may be, it's not necessary, but there may be something out there that you're missing out on that you might actually enjoy. This is pretty much how I discovered the new retro wave style, since I always did enjoy this 80s electronic synthy neon-y type of music, and when I found out that there is a whole... Oh really? That's strange. But yeah, it did tickle my fancy, and this is more this is one of the examples of something that I just tried and liked. Oh yeah, that's pretty much all that there is to it. I'm never gonna sit down and talk about this is right or this is wrong or any of this type of thing. Because just as you said earlier, there are different passengers for different trains, and it's definitely not my place to be the dispatch. Oh, which ones? Perturbator, probably. I certainly liked Perturbator. What else was there? Oh god. Alex is good. Gunship is good. I liked Scandroid, but more because it's the lead singer from Cell Dweller rather than just the band itself. But it's the same guy. It's what was his name? Clayton from Cell Dweller. He dabbled in the genre. Oh, and by the way, Perturbator, if you like them, they are coming to Bulgaria at some point this year. I don't know, probably. I'm just always referring to a band as they. Haven't really dug deep into information. Mostly just turn on a channel or something. James Kent? Oh. Oh, and he's French. That makes sense, to an extent. For some reason, France has a very stable electric and electronic sound, going all the way back to Jean-Michel Jarre and Nouvelle Vague. And of course Daft Punk. Yeah, it was recently the 20th anniversary of the Discovery album, the one with the anime clips that told a cohesive story in the videos. Interstellar, yeah. I agree, yeah. Honestly, aside from the album Discovery and a few other songs, the rest is a bit blah, but there is enough there for me to say that they're fun to listen to. They do? Really? I should check these out. Are they older stuff? Or somewhere in between? Okay, I'll check it out after the stream. Yeah, yeah, I'll check it out. 2005. Right, so after Discovery. Oh my. Skinned has similar themes in her music. Running with scissors. Oh yeah, Skinned has also some creepy stuff. She has a song with Jonathan Davis, which is creepy as all hell. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I do. I wouldn't call them creepy per se, but they're definitely weird. But their music is rather upbeat, and it's nice to listen to. Yeah, strange, weird rather than disturbing or anything. Still fun though. I'm just trying to think of other weirder things. I think, well, Bjork being a classical example, although I don't like her for some reason. I think she's a very acquired taste, and I couldn't acquire my taste to her. But she definitely brings out the weird. Or brought out. I don't know if she's still active. Yeah, I'm referring to that particular vibe that she had. The slower, more ambient, more eerie music. Billie Eilish is trying to be like that, but I think she's more along the lines of just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. But I think she's trying to tap into that type of moody, stonery sound. Alan? Who that? Gigi Allen. I'm not getting the reference. I haven't heard of him, I have to admit. Like I said, my knowledge of punk is fairly limited. Oh, nice. So essentially an actual rock star, is that what you're saying? Even more than Iggy Pop, that's... It's tough to imagine, but I'll take your word for it. Do you listen to grindcore or any of the subsidiaries? There was a really fun Flash game. Yeah, yeah. There was a fun game, browser based, years ago called Zombie Grinder, which was about a fat, bald dude with a shotgun, side scrolling shooter, and in the background, various grindcore bands would play, and the speed of the game would coincide with the speed of the song and of the section of the song. So it had dynamic speed, dynamic changing speed, and it was a pretty fun way to get into the style. So bands like Inhume. Yeah. Ah. 3-minute songs are the grind equivalent to progressive metal. Everything over three minutes is just too much. But it has its merits. I mean, I enjoyed that type of vocals. More fun. I never could get to accept it on a particularly serious note, but I do enjoy it every time that it comes up. So cattle decapitation. Oh, there was a newer one I forgot. Terrorizer, yeah. There's a website called Encyclopedia Metallium or something like that, and it has some really weird bands in its database, and it's fun to just hit the random button and just see what comes out. Yeah, stuff like that. I remember there was one Bulgarian grindcore band. I think it was grindcore. Yeah, thematically they run on a bit of an edgy. Way, but so I think it was called Anally Dissected Angel or something like that. But I don't know if they are considered grind or just extreme death. I think this covered up well. I haven't listened to those. Oh wow. Okay, okay, I'm hooked. I'm definitely hooked with that sentence. How do they do it? I mean, is it in the videos only, or do they use the sounds and vocals? Like, I think, was it Vomitory that it used in the sound? Okay, that's more interesting. Because I remember, I think it was Vomitory who used sounds of vomiting and um, flushing a toilet and shit like that. Starts with the theme song. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll check these out. That sounds fun. What was it? Carno diaphragma. Okay. Weird stuff. Oh, Psycho Stick. When we were talking about parody bands, Psycho Stick just came to mind. I agree. I agree. I believe that this is what they're going for anyway. I think Peter introduced me to them, and I really, really, really like them. Every time someone mentions porno grind, I just can't help but remember Deathgasm, the New Zealand movie, because that's where they mentioned it. I think that's the first time I heard about the substyle, and I just can't help to think about it. I saw them on Facebook having an event, but I haven't listened to them. Would you recommend them as good? Are they like Guar or something? Really? Well, there's something new. Awesome. Yeah, all of these that you're mentioning, they are going on my list. I am going to listen through them for sure. Sweet. Sweet. Nice. Nanowar. Glory Hammer should have played on the festival, but I think they got it just a couple of songs in, so they couldn't expand in their usual way. Necrogoblicon also comes to mind, although I don't think they quite make fun in their music as such, but John Goblicon is a fun figure. And on their YouTube channels, they do these mock interviews. I think that's all they have. I think they have 2 or 3, yeah. In terms of videos, at least. Which one is that? Okay. Yeah, I can see the name. Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely check them out. So I'll just use the fact that I got the gray out to color the rim of the base. Tricycles of Steel. Makes sense. Is that a song or is it an album? Song from the album of the same name, alright. So is this what I should start with if I wanna check them out? Okay. And do you know what country they are from? Master of Pizza, alright. Italy. Really? Curious. Yeah, I'll definitely give them a try. I'll just let this dry a little bit. Yeah, there's really so much to go through, and from a certain point on, the diversity becomes so great that it's really hard to pick and choose if you're looking for something new, because there is a lot of just trash out there, and being able to filter through is quite the challenge. So I do enjoy every opportunity when someone actually uh, suggests something. Right then. Yeah, no, I honestly didn't think I would. This is pretty much most of the problem I have. I just paint with very diluted paints, and every single color I put down has to go through multiple layers, and I get easily distracted. That being said, I will be able to finish off the gray and the rim and the hair of this guy, so I'll paint this guy's hair black, and I will start with the browns. So the target I had for today, I will be managing, more or less. But like I said in previous streams, ensuring that the base color is done right is half the battle there and there. After that, highlighting it covers less surface, and so it's easier to go through, quicker at least. So I'm not particularly worried. And I did want to use this stream more or less as an excuse to talk about music, and I think it's turning out fun. I honestly hate painting the rims because it takes a long time for them to dry, as I'm slapping on paint with a lot of water straight from the pot. And it's just a bother. Then I have to go through. Since I got the color out though, might as well just do it. Yeah, but I wasn't priming them in a batch, that's why. Because before my airbrush broke, before my compressor broke, I was just priming them, the two guys along with the bases, and if I were to get to paint a color that corresponds to the rim, I would go to the rim. It's not particularly efficient, but it was a bit of a distraction, a bit of a something to break the monotony of painting the same thing. But yeah, batch painting for rims is definitely the way to go. There's no detail to observe, so you just slap it on and move on. This rock station suddenly took a turn for the country. It was unexpected. Oh, you can't? I fear that if I turn it up, my voice will get lost. Oh, alright, so that's... Hey, Roro Rimbo. For myself, I'm fine. And just having a talk about music and different styles, different bands. Meanwhile, I am doing the ever so important task of coloring the base rim of this base. Particularly exciting aspect of painting. Fortunately, one that still needs to be done, so we're going through it. How are you? Have you already had your trip to Sofia booked for the tournament? Okay, good to know. Cool. I have a bit of a shameful Oh, okay. That's good. Well, if it doesn't have to be the full team, if enough of the ones that you want to use are done, maybe he can send you the batch that's ready. Oh, okay, okay. Make them at all. I actually haven't made my team yet in the little army designer. I should sit down and compose the team. They will not open there. Yeah, Royal Rainbow, there's been an issue with Facebook and Instagram and I think WhatsApp recently, so it might be that. Did he paint your Chaos team, Big in Space? Or was it a different painter? Because I'm kind of getting them a bit mixed up. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, you mentioned that. Oh, yeah, that's not a pleasant experience at all, I imagine. Yeah, well, that's understandable. That's if you are not satisfied with the service, even if it's a one-off case, still hard to give out a recommendation in this in such circumstances. And yeah, I remember the Camry were pretty decent, pretty nice. Very fun models too. You took them to the Melon Ball, I believe. Yeah, yeah. There's going to be so much cleanup on these guys. It does, yeah. Truth be told, I can't remember seeing another green and gold combination like that. Might actually be a bit of an inspiration for me for some future projects. But the humans do look a bit weird. That being said, them being yellow, yellow being a notorious color to paint. Especially as the main color. Yeah, yeah. Yellow is a bit funky. Yeah, bright colors are fun for I myself try to go for bright colors. I usually just chicken out at the end of the day because brighter colors, more saturated, lighter tones are very difficult to highlight, and every imperfection stands out. So I start off with the idea that I want them very bright, and then I just don't bring up the highlights. Yeah, yeah, and also it's thematically related to the game because these are football teams, and sports teams do have some ludicrous color schemes to set them apart from one another. I think there are some flaming pink jerseys of teams in real life. It's not unheard of. Well, if that shouldn't be the thing stopping you. I mean, I understand if you just don't want to do it, but it's just another thing that you can learn. Oh yeah? have a different main color. Wow, 10, you can think of 10 different colors for main ones. Yes, well, it's obvious, as you can see with me, how much time it takes, and even though I do take more than the regular amount of time, even less than that is still quite a bit. So every time I see in Facebook someone saying I got this team painted in like 10 hours or so, I'm like, how on earth did you do that? Right, so you're going for not only bright colors but also hard contrast. That's a good idea. Big in Space did ask me earlier today if I was going to play around with different skin tones, and I really should start doing this. I have been using the exact same formula for everything forever. And I should change that. Okay. Well, that went on better than expected. I expected more resistance from the white undercoat to catch the black. But it went on fairly easy. I know, yeah, this is what I'm going for. It just really looked the part as a model, and what I'll be going for with him. That being said, highlighting black, especially for hair, is gonna be a weird experience. But yeah, I think he's done. The hair is done. There's the base. And the base is black. Green humans, blue brats, light blue dwarfs, pink undead, white lizards. Wow, white is the main color. That's gonna be a challenge. Dark red, burgundy for wood elves, purple dark elves. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, the white lizards. This is gonna be This is a challenge for anyone, I can tell you that. Have you mentioned this to anyone that you would like to have the team commissioned to, if you have it? Yeah, it does, it does. It's just white as a main color is very difficult to pull off. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that's more manageable. Yeah. Also, blue for the scales is a neat idea. Albino Crocs. Is in painted albino? But yeah, see, Royal Rainbow, here's also an idea. You can use, for the Lizards team, you can have different shades for the different positionals. So the main skin color for the skinks can be different from the one from the Sauruses and different from the one for the Crocs to add some additional quick reference variation. But yeah, an albino Crocs makes a lot of sense. The big white. Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm not very versed in the... Oh, ho, I see. Okay, alright. So here that's even fluff reasons to go with different skin tones, the scales. So next color will be brown. Yeah, that's also valid. Just different tints over the same base, making the change subtle and yet having an overall hue of the base color, bringing them all together to give more of a consolidated feel. That's cool. That's cool as well. The Slann are left in charge. Never would have figured that the frogs will be the higher hierarchy. They're the wizards, huh? Like the rats in Planescape. That most of them are old. Okay. Well, it makes sense if they are wizards instead of sorcerers if you're sticking to strict uh, fantasy definitions. So, wizardry would be something that you need to study and work towards. Oh, is that the large model that they released? What was his name? Oh god, I forgot. Can you write in the name just to see if I'm thinking of the same guy? Right, right. No, I meant the name of the wizard. It completely slipped my mind. It was a big undead model with lots of spirits. God, what was it called? No, that's not what the one I'm thinking about, so that's something different. Lord Croak. I like that GW does. Whoa. I never would have figured that out. I love how GW really has a way of introducing some ever so slight comical tones. Even in their grimmest themes. Lord Croak. This name is gonna stick with me for a while. Following the orc names, this is probably the best one I've heard. Hmm. Well, yeah. If Cyanide decided to have their models as miniature lines, yeah, some teams will be pretty good. I I do like the human team, excluding maybe the hats, but otherwise I think they're pretty fun. The Chaos team is also pretty good looking. Nurgle is pretty good looking. The Pro Elves, as Pig in Space mentioned, are also pretty good. Yeah, in terms of design, the Blood Bowl 2 teams do look pretty fine. I'm not so sure about lizards. They do look a bit on the boring side. What else? Camry might not be particularly good. Dark elves are a bit too similar, but actually, when you think about it, many of the new teams that are being released do take influence from the Cyanide Blood Bowl. So GW themselves, I believe, took a lot of influence for the human team. Grebo took a lot of influences from Blood Bowl 2 for the Dark Elf team. Um, so a lot of elements are being transferred because they are good designs overall. But most of them would work pretty well. There are very few exceptions to that rule. The teams that I would have an issue with being made into minis would be just the ones where the different positionals don't have a good amount of diversity. So I thought about Camry since they only have certain little details to differ them from one another, excluding the Tomb Guardians, of course. Mm, yeah, every team that has good positional differences in design is a team that would look well in miniature form, in my opinion. Yeah, most of them would be nice. And as I said, even GW has taken an influence in their teams from the cyanide version, so that is proof enough. I believe that their designs are good. Yeah, that's also a good argument that if they do release it, they will be a bit samey and most people will go after them, and this will lead to a lot of identical looking teams only with color differentiations, which is rarely enough to justify a different team. Still, that was a very interesting topic you raised. Thank you for that. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, as long as the scale is good and adequate comparatively to other teams, I think creative freedom should be given. Blood Bowl is just one of these games that really lend themselves to creative teams. And I think that this is not only because of the theme of the game, but also because of its mechanics. If you think about it, the fact that they don't have loadouts that you need to represent. I think you did mention that about the turtle team, yeah. That would be really good to see. Uh, so the fact that they don't have too many things that require visual representation, like they don't have a strict or changing loadout that you have to consider when building the models. You just need to put on something that's identifiable as a blitzer or a catcher or a thrower, which is a single element. So the mechanics of the game is also what lends itself to having such diversity. Hmm. What would you proxy the Ninja Turtles as? one model is in monopose, or that it just includes a single model. Yes, when the models are separate, building them up to a team is difficult, is expensive. I remember having the idea to do so with the Skibor orcs, the orcs, not the dwarves. He had some dwarves that he prepared as a team, but it was insanely expensive. Yeah, separate model combinations really bring the price up to levels that just make it not worth it. Okay. Right, and if they're American, you should also consider the shipping costs and the fact that they will come through customs, meaning that you'll have to declare VAT to it, which will add additional value. So it will also bring up the overall price. So excuse me for just a second, I will get a refill of water and I'll be right back. And here I am. Okay, well, if the overall price is low, still again you should consider the VAT. That's a solid 20% that you need to add at customs, unless you can prove a lower price that you've bought them at. Yeah, and I forgot, what did you say that you were gonna proxy them as? Which team would you use them for? Corn. Okay. The Berserking Ninja Turtles has a nice ring to it. Yeah, Krang is an amazing character. I always loved him as a kid. I think he was my favorite after Casey Jones. And Shredder as the Blood Rider. Yeah, that it makes good sense. It's well thought through. Naturally. What was the name of the camera guy? Oh god, I forgot. April's April's colleague. It was a really stupid name, I think. Splinter is a coach, yeah. Now you're gonna have to make me watch the series again. I'm just getting nostalgia, goosebumps all over myself. Yeah. And Casey Jones can be the star player with a secret weapon. If Korn has access to one. Not really sure what they can use as star players. Yeah, well, that would work then. Wonder if he has Frenzy as well. A Frenzy chainsaw. That'd be mental. No, I don't think it is, nor would it make sense because of how chainsaw works, but still, it just sounds insane. Because I don't think the chainsaw pushes back, I think it falls straight down, so it doesn't make sense to have Frenzy. Yeah, it's a good fouling piece. I like the chainsaw players, even though they are mostly rubbish. I just like the idea of them, and I usually take them if I can afford a bribe and the chainsaw guy. I usually will take them and totally waste them, but they're just fun. And yeah, it's fouling pieces. They substitute three assists for the initial roll, so they are very good in that. But the fact that they have to roll for kickback every time makes them about as reliable as big guys, and that's just not okay. Right then, I think that will be it for painting today. I'll just have a quick smoke and I'll be cutting it. Wow, thank you, Kirakat. Welcome, guys. You are unfortunately catching us at pretty much the end of the stream. Mostly just putting on some base colors on these Norse dudes. Trying to make some progress for the World Cup team in October. And we've been mostly rambling on and on about music, about different bands, and what else? Well, hello, Casual Painter. Thank you for the follow, much appreciated. So yeah, we were just talking about the option to have a Thank you, thank you. Ninja Turtles team substituting, proxying as Korn, and we were seeing Pig in Space's idea of how he would call the positionals. So let me recap because he does have some cool ideas on the matter. So he would use Krang in Suit as the Bloodthirster, Bebop and Rocksteady would be the Heralds, Shredder would be the Bloodletter, and the Foot Clan ninjas would be the normal guys, and naturally April O'Neil. Okay, thank you. Thanks again for the raid, and have a lovely night. Oh yeah, mostly just riff-raffing on the stream. I hopefully am, yeah. So for anyone who stayed to watch for a bit, this stream, this channel is mostly about painting minis. In this case, a Blood Bowl team. I'm building a Necromunda team on different days. I'm playing Blood Bowl 2 on PC in the Rebel League, and I will be introducing the Surge Let's Play. If any of these things tickles your fancy, I would advise you to follow me on Facebook so you would catch any notifications for me streaming any of the coming days. Otherwise, we are mostly just winding down from the stream. We've been going on for about 2.5 hours and just chilling off from the painting session and from the themes that we discussed. Yeah, so far so good. If anyone would have any questions to go around, I'd be happy to answer them right now. Since I think for the moment we've exhausted any of the ongoing topics that we had, which is why we're winding down to a bit of a quieter side of things. I think that tomorrow I'll make a building stream to continue with the Necromunda. Build a couple of more torsos to have the basis of the Goliath gang ready, so I can then focus on the armaments and then drill them out. Cool, cool. I would love to see you then. And if I have time to play around with OBS, I'll try to get the search to work and probably have Friday as a first try for that game. As well as build my team for the Sevens tournament on Sunday. No, I haven't, and yeah. I'm thinking if it would be good for you somewhere in the start of next week, so Monday, Tuesday, how does that sound to you? Somewhere after 6 o'clock local time. By maybe 5:30. I should be able to make it then. I would just like to see if I'll be able to schedule my Challengers Cup ticket, if I get one. Oh, I see. Alright, okay. Alright. Well, we can, if when you find out. Also, you're not being in the city. Okay, this will make it more difficult. Okay. I don't think I'll be ready for Friday. And the weekend wouldn't be okay either. So, Right, we will take this offline and think about it. Anyway, guys, I think that this will be it from me for today. Thanks to anyone who joined, and sorry if you joined late, as we were just about to wrap up. Anyway, still, if you find this in any way fun or interesting, be sure to join me tomorrow for some building, some cutting, some scraping, some instant glue action, sticking my fingers around on stuff, that sort of thing. But for now, I will wish you a pleasant rest of the evening or day, depending on where you're from, and I hope to see you soon. Have a good one. Bye bye.